Rams versus Ravens out there in Baltimore, Maryland. One team's beat up to hell, the other coming off a crappy primetime loss. How are these Rams going to bounce back and beat these Ravens? Well, we'll talk about that next on this Keys to Victory episode here on the Rams Up Podcast Network. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Rams Up Podcast Network. I'm Ian. That's Mark. If you're on YouTube or listening in on the podcast side of things, share this content with all your fellow Rams fans. Like that video, subscribe to the channel, write a review in the comment section for all your Apple Music, Spotify needs, or wherever else you get your audio. Me and Mark very much appreciate it. And stick with us through this crazy 2025 campaign, and you won't miss anything about the Rams on this channel. But before we get started, we have a quick message from the sponsor of this video, MyBookie.
Yeah, if you haven't heard by now, we have teamed up with MyBookie. You can go to their website, mybookie.website/join with Rams Up. Use promo code Rams Up, and up to $500 is fully covered if you're a new user. And I've been throwing out betting ideas, and I'm not encouraging betting, but if you are going to bet, why not use MyBookie and use this promo code Rams Up? And I have a fun parlay for you this week. How about you go with the Colts over the Cardinals, the Bucks over the 49ers, and the Jags over the Seahawks, while the Rams are beating the Ravens? All four NFC teams on the road, only one of them is going to come back with a W. That's our Rams. Bet against the NFC West. The other three teams could be a great day for the Rams, and that's a fun parlay, I think. So check out MyBookie. Use that promo code. $500 fully covered. Can't beat it.
All right, everyone. Thanks to MyBookie for sponsoring this video. But Mark, how you doing? You've been winning some bets?
Well, I've been making picks on various nights, and last week I went 2 out of 3, and I'm up
bad.
a little bit. But those are pretend bets, to be honest with you, most of them. But the syndicate has been doing really well. I've been sharing the syndicate's picks as well, and they're doing well. It's a group think approach to betting, all money line bets. So overall, yeah, we're doing pretty good.
That's good. I've been in a sad place, everyone. Rams blew it on national television, but I'm feeling better. Hopefully you guys are too. So I haven't been making any bets recently. But man, Mark, after coming off a crappy loss for the whole world to see, where they blew it against multiple backups on that 49ers team, and a lot of people say, and I think we agree with this too, Rams wasted a Matthew Stafford elite performance along with other things. And it's not just the defense or Kyron or battle line blocking here or there or there. It was a team effort, coaching, play calling. It all just went to crap. But here we are hoping to bounce back, right, against a team that is also pretty dang beat up, right? These Baltimore Ravens, Mark, they're in a weird spot right now as we look into this week 6 matchup, everyone, where we do play them out in Baltimore, Maryland, which, the Rams have had not a ton of success. And with that said, Mark, let's look into the Rams versus Ravens history, right? What is the overall head-to-head on that as we pull that up here? Ravens haven't been in existence for 50 plus years like other, most franchises in the NFL. So we haven't played them a ton, but Mark, not great odds. I thought it would be closer than this off the top of my memory. The Rams are 3-6 against Baltimore since they've existed. I mean, it's not great.
Yeah, and I think, we'll look at the game history here, and I think the Ravens' history may be in sync with some dark days for the Rams. That may be the
Yeah.
case.
Yeah.
But some Jeff Fisher and maybe some Scott Linehan and Steve Spagnuolo Rams. But yeah, and they're a tough franchise. They're kind of down right now, but hey, look at the one thing we have to consider is, when we went into this season, I was kind of upset that the Rams had to play. I don't like this number one team playing the number one team. It really makes the schedules unfair. And that's the way the NFL does it. We have,
Yeah.
we get the Ravens while these other teams are getting the Browns and the Steelers. And now it's kind of actually worked in our favor on paper,
Yes.
anyways. We may be playing on paper the worst team in the AFC North right now, but
Well,
and
Bengals
we,
have something to say about that, don't they?
yeah, they may, but we don't. I hesitate to get too excited about playing a team that's a little downtrodden and beat up because, like you said before we started recording, it almost doesn't matter anymore in the modern NFL. The Ravens are going to come to play and put up a fight for sure.
Yeah, I think so for sure. And well, how about the last times we all fought each other, right? Mark, Rams versus Ravens. In the last 5 games, it hasn't gone well, everyone. So 2011, the Baltimore Ravens absolutely obliterate the St. Louis Rams. Not fun. In 2015, we lose a close one, right? That's when Aaron Donald was on the team and Todd Gurley and that new wave of Rams. So, didn't go our way. Then I was at that Monday night game late in the 2019 season, right? Rams are winning some games. They were still hovering in the playoff picture. And then Baltimore comes to town in prime time and absolutely obliterates that Rams team. I was there with friends. Not that I went to think like, oh, Rams are going to win, but I was like, this should be a good, entertaining game. Prime time. It worked out for me on a Monday. And they just got absolutely waxed. Marcus Peters picked off Jared Goff. Jalen Ramsey was shit talking and wanting to fight Ravens in the tunnel there. Because, if you remember the Coliseum, everyone's got to go into the same mega tunnel at USC, the Coliseum there, to get back. It was a disaster. No one played well. Eric Weddle had a terrible game. Yada, 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 yada. Everyone got waxed. And then 2022, a very, very eerily similar kind of situation that this Rams Ravens game is, in my opinion. Yes, that was super late in the year at that point, but a Ravens team that was severely injured at that point almost beat a Super Bowl level team in the Rams at that point. Remember, OBJ had to save us with a crazy 4th and goal catch. Then, well, not 4th and goal, 4th and 1. And then he had the game winner right after that. I mean, that Rams team was going to blow it in that game against backups, but they pulled it off. And then the most recent matchup, 2023, Rams lose in that overtime, which sucked. Let's pull up the stuff with that. So Rams 6-7, Ravens 10-3 at that point. Matthew Stafford had a fantastic day, throwing 3 touchdowns, almost 300 yards. Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua balled out. Cooper had one of his last final fantastic days as a Ram, it felt like at that point. Kyron ran the ball well, and then we just couldn't stop Lamar. He had 3 total touchdowns and INT. He was their leading rusher, couldn't contain him there. And then Zay Flowers and others, and everyone remembers that walk-off punt return that just was so crappy, Mark, if you remember that. So hasn't gone well in recent, right? The backup
Yeah.
game barely beat him. And then when we were fully healthy, we just could not stop Lamar. And we couldn't stop him the other time before that. So we don't have good history against this team.
Yeah, I had forgotten about that game a few years back. Whatever the score was, 48 to something, and they just ran all over us. They were just gashing us left and right in the running game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was not pretty. And then the one we lost in overtime, it was a little bit of a sketchy punt return there. There was
Yeah.
clearly a block in the back. Stuff happens, but the Ravens were the benefit of a non-call there.
Yeah. I mean, sure. But, there was multiple occasions in that game. If you remember, everyone, Lamar had like a 3rd and 20 something, converted it, 3rd and 15, ran for it. I mean, there was so many more chances. And I agree to everyone's point, whether you're an analyst or a football aficionado in one way or another. It's like, hey, more plays come down to just a big conversion here, a fumble, a turnover there. There was lots of opportunities for the Rams to pull that one off, and they didn't. But that was the last matchup. Battled, but we have never stopped Lamar Jackson, and we almost lost the backups the time before that. So there's your Rams versus Ravens history, everyone. Again, 3-6 overall, the Rams. A lot of those were St. Louis Rams getting waxed, but even in the McVay era, 1-2, one win coming against backups. So that hasn't been fantastic. But how about the Ravens roster as a whole right now, my fellow Rams nation out there? There's a lot of beat up guys, and we'll talk about it. But let's look at them as a whole right now, and let's pull that up immediately. How about that Ravens offense to start out, Mark? So if you're here on YouTube, thanks for watching with us. You can have the visuals along with everything we've been talking about thus far, but you can see here a bunch of dots, red and green. Red indicating that player has been a Pro Bowler in the past. A green dot means they've been an All-Pro in the past. So you look at this Ravens offense, Mark. Lamar Jackson, Pro Bowl All-Pro guy. Derrick Henry, Pro Bowl All-Pro. Zay Flowers, Pro Bowl. Rashad Bateman, a good receiver in my opinion. DeAndre Hopkins, Pro Bowl All-Pro. Mark Andrews, Pro Bowl All-Pro. Patrick Ricard, their fullback, Pro Bowl All-Pro. Ronnie Stanley, Pro Bowl All-Pro. Then you have Andrew Voorhees, Tyler Linderbaum, a center's been a Pro Bowler. Then you have Daniel Falehi, Roger Rosengarten, and that rounds out the starters. Now, we all know Lamar Jackson's unlikely to play. So is it going to be another Cooper Rush game where he played very bad against Houston last week? Or do they go Snoop Huntley, who almost beat us back in 2021, which is crazy, right? Then they got Justice Hill as a backup. They have Isaiah Likely as a pseudo backup, but he plays a ton. Is a starting caliber tight end, in my opinion. And then old friend Joe Noteboom. Is he going to start at left tackle for them? We shall see. But at face value, Mark, this offense is legit. And
Yeah.
it's crazy how much they've suffered without Lamar, despite all the talent everywhere else.
Yeah, I think this team, when you have a quarterback like Lamar and then you lose him, it's a bigger shock to the system, I think, than most teams when they lose their quarterback, because Cooper Rush is just a different type of quarterback. I think that's why Huntley might have been a better replacement, in my opinion, than Jackson. But I'm sure it's going to be Cooper Rush. But yeah, still a lot of talent there, and cannot take them lightly. It would be fun if Noteboom got the start here, but I heard Stanley was practicing today. It's
Yeah.
still questionable, but I have a feeling he's going to go.
Yeah.
I think the Rams would love to see Noteboom out there. I think they know how to deal with him. I would expect.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, it's a group that you should fear on paper reading it, but a lot of injuries, a lot of this and that. But there's no doubt about it. That offense and the Rams better hope Lamar don't play. Let's be real about it. If his hamstring somehow magically the fibers re-sew themselves together and that knot heals itself, I'm picking them to lose this game absolutely if he plays. Now, more likely not, based on what Harbaugh's comments said, he's probably not going to play. But we'll get to the full injury report later. I just want to point that out. Lamar is the engine, and we have never been able to stop him in these last two matchups we did face him, right? So
Yeah,
a good
you have
offense
to
on paper, no doubt about it.
yeah. I mean, you have to consider if he does play, is he going to be the same Lamar that we're used to seeing? Though, is he going to be 100%, especially
Yeah,
running with the ball? So, there's that.
that's fair. But I mean, you can still dice us up with our secondary not having the greatest game this last couple of weeks, really, let's be real about it. So we shall see, but a good offense on paper, right? Rams Nation. Me and Mark agree with that. But how about that defense? A group that runs a 3-4 style defense. They run a similar defensive setup like us, right? 3 D tackles, a nose, 2, I guess, DN, D tackles, whatever name you like. And then 2 outside linebackers on the line. And then you have your 2 inside linebackers. Very similar to what we do. But again, not all the play calls are exactly how we do things. But they run a 3-4 setup. We're used to seeing that a ton. So who do they got out there? Well, they got Travis Jones, John Jenkins, Brent Urban, Tavius Robinson, then Roquan Smith, a Pro Bowl All-Pro player, Teddy Buckingham, if I said that name, apologies, right? They have Kyle Van Noy, who's been a Pro Bowler before, Nate Wiggins, one of their first-round picks, Kyle Hamilton, the Pro Bowl All-Pro player, Jair Alexander, who's been rotating in there, free agent / trade signing big guy, you can call it. He's been a Pro Bowler, of course. And then you got Lohi Gilman, Malachi Starks, a pick that we, were jealous of. That's a player we were fond of coming out of college, right, Mark, the safety? Awuzie, a player that the Rams went after in free agency and ended up picking the Ravens instead. Then you have Marlon Humphrey, the Pro Bowl All-Pro level player. And of course, as you look at this whole group here, you see Matabuke, the fantastic defensive tackle. He had a serious, what was it, neck injury, Mark, if my memory serves me correctly. He's on IR. He's totally done for the year. And a group, Mark, that you look on paper and you say, oh, this group should be good. They have been absolutely dreadful, whether it's been starters in or backups or a mixture of just maybe a guy here or there. It's surprising, Mark. They've been really, really bad. And you look at the names, you look at the guys, and it's shocking.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sense of it. I haven't watched them really at all this year. I see the numbers, I see the scores, I see the stats, and I was like scratching my head. A Harbaugh coach team, especially a team that, what's their, what are they known for? They're known for an electric running game between Henry and Jackson, and a really tough, hard hitting, smash mouth defense. And their defense, yeah, something's wrong there. I don't know. I don't know enough to tell you what it is, but they're not playing well for sure.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, dude. It's shocking to be honest with you, but we'll talk about them more in depth in a sec. But how about we move on to the Ravens specialists, right? Justin Tucker couldn't keep his hands to himself and started missing kicks, so he's not on the team anymore. One of their best players in team history. And who they got now? They got Tyler Loop. Jordan Stout is their punter and holder. They got LeJonte Wester, Keaton Mitchell, who was a really good running back before his torn ACL. They got those guys on return duty. So a group, Mark, overall, that's pretty good, right? Loop is kicking well. Wester and Mitchell have home run ability in the return game. And then Stout is, punting a bunch right now, obviously, with the offense in flux. But a specialist group, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, we just have to face it. Loop's going to make 250 plus yarders. One of them is going
Yeah.
to hit upright and go through, and he's going to make 4 field goals, something like that. That's
That's how it
that's
goes,
what
ain't
happens against
it?
our Rams lately. It seems like.
Yeah. So lame. I know. Think about that. When's the last time a Rams opponent's kicker missed and whiffed? It feels like it's been forever. I'm sure it's more recent than what you know.
Uh,
But
the last
yeah,
one I
Luke's the guy
remember
I probably
was
won't miss.
Yeah, the last one I remember was in Seattle, and, Myers missed one. I think it's 2 or 3 years ago, though. It was an important kick too. I
Yeah.
vaguely remember that.
Well, we need more of that. Please, Luke, have a bad day out there and on your home field. That's probably not going to happen though. Now that I said it, but despite however you feel about the roster, injuries and who's beat up and all that, I mean, gosh, there's still some damn good players on this team, clearly, in my opinion, and Mark's as well. So, out of the guys who we think are going to play on Sunday, we know more likely than not, we'll talk about them next. And here are the Ravens' best players. And I think it's easy to pick out this player, Mark. That would be wide receiver Zay Flowers. And he is someone that, if you remember, and I think a lot of Rams fans don't remember this too, he was a player along with tight end Dalton Kincaid back a couple years ago as someone that the Rams were interested to trade up for. They want and still want somebody to be in that Brandon Cooks role, right? Can be the deep threat, still good hands, still can get tough yardage, can throw screens too, et cetera, and then still be the all-around player that a Rams wide receiver is pictured in Sean McVay's offense, right? And, hey, Ravens got him. Kincaid went to the Buffalo Bills, and Rams didn't get either of them, but he's someone that I know the Rams respect and would have liked to have had on the team. And despite all the quarterback issues and all that, Mark, look at right now, he's got one touchdown, which isn't great, but a lot has to do with quarterback issues. He's averaging 13.5 yards a catch, solid in my opinion, 377 yards total, and he's got 28 catches, which all those could be way, way more if Lamar was healthy and playing at a good level and other things just went well for them. But Mark, someone that I don't know if any corner that is playing right now for us can guard him one-on-one. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, when I see his name up there, when I see any tier one wide receiver going up against our team, I was like, that's going to be a problem right now until
Jeez.
the Rams secondary proves otherwise. So I'll talk about that in our keys to victory segment.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's going to be a problem.
Yeah, he's going to be a problem for sure. So we'll talk about how to defend him a little bit later. But how about the next guy on this list? This shouldn't be a shock either. That would be running back Derrick Henry. King Henry, maybe he's not having a king level season right now, but he's still balling out, in my opinion. I mean, the dude is a freight train. He is a future Hall of Fame player, in my opinion, Mark. No doubt about it. Right now, he's got 4 rushing touchdowns, which is 4th best in the entire NFL. He's averaging 5 yards a carry, which is fantastic. He's getting positive yardage every time he touches it, basically. Only on 64 carries. They haven't been featuring him a ton because they've been down a lot. And then right now, he's got 317 rushing yards, which puts him at 14th in the entire NFL. But someone who has that home run hitting ability, who can get the tough yardage. I mean, my God, again, averaging 5 yards a carry. That's a guarantee anytime you give it to him. He's going to smash it forward, basically. And with an O-line who hasn't been great, but they still can get some push in the run game, all this guy needs is an alley, and then forget about it. We don't have anyone that can run him down once he gets going, Mark. We're in trouble if he gets loose.
Yeah, I as much as I want the Rams to succeed, I want to see Emmanuel Forbes try to take him down one on
Yeah,
one. That
right.
would be but Dan Orlovsky shared a interesting stat. I think it was Dan Orlovsky that the Ravens run the ball less on first and second down than any team. There may have been some kind of constraint on that
That's
statistic,
crazy.
and but when they do, they're very successful. And he couldn't figure it out. But that said, the Rams have really, for the most part, solved the run defense issues that we saw last year, and I have a lot of respect for Henry, and I'm sure he's going to have his moments, but I feel pretty good about the Rams' ability to keep him in check. Now, Omar Spates might be out. That's not good. But
Yeah.
Sean Dolak or Troy Reader's going to have to step in on running downs. But yeah, he's a great player. I just Zay Flowers at this point scares me a little more than Derrick Henry.
Fair, yeah. I know. King Henry, man, he's got in him, despite the fumble issue, just like our own running back, which is kind of crazy. He's never been a fumbling type of guy. Maybe, hopefully a peanut punch from Nate Landman happens one more time and screws up Derrick Henry's Hall of Fame trajectory, which he's going to. I say that kiddingly, but he's fumbling. Nate Landman's got a chance, and we'll talk about that a little bit later too, though, Mark. But how about another player on offense who's one of the best? May not be having the spectacular, oh my God, season, but again, based on who is available for this game and who's going to be out there, I think tight end Mark Andrews deserves a shout out as one of their best players. Not only is he a threat in the passing game, but damn, he's a good blocker. He gets people out of the way. And look, his stats aren't fantastic right now, Mark. I understand Rams Nation too. Anyone wants to make that argument. He's got only 17 catches on the season, only 150 yards receiving right now, 2 receiving touchdowns, and averaging 8.8 a catch right now. So anytime he gets thrown to him, he's being productive. But again, he hasn't gotten thrown to a ton. Quarterback issues, O-line, pass protection issues, et cetera, et cetera. But with, to your point earlier, no Omar, Nate Landman's a little humble or hobbled, I should say. Is Troy Reader, young Dolak going to play? I mean, might be one of those games where it's like, oh, of course, Mark Andrew went off against the Rams with a injured middle linebacker group, but he's still one of the best players despite all the lack of production. I don't think that has anything to do with him and his skill set, Mark.
Yeah, and I don't know if tight ends have had a lot of big games against the Rams, or for some reason I just remember them more. But we do seem to
Yeah.
get dinged by tight ends, and Andrews is a guy that could do some damage against us. He's underrated tight end, I think, for sure.
Yeah, he is. And been a Pro Bowler, been an All Pro. I mean, the guy's legit. He can go off on anybody anytime. He just needs the targets, and he hasn't gotten them. I hope it's not this game, please. But to Sean McVay's probably most feared player right now, and the guy he will mention every now and then as like a top secondary DB. And you guessed it right if you shouted it in your head, Rams Nation. That would be defensive back, hybrid safety, slot corner, do it all guy, Kyle Hamilton. And he's been banged up, he's been injured, but when he's fully healthy, he's one of the best in the entire NFL, Mark. He's Pro Bowl, all pro guy. Right now, only 17 tackles, right? He's missed games, one forced fumble, which puts him 13th best in the league right now, 0 INTs, 2 passes defended. But there's no debating the range he has in zone coverage, the ability to play man to man. He's got the length, the speed, the smarts. He is one of their best players by far. And he missed the last game, but he's practicing. So he's probably going to play against us, of course, this upcoming game. But got to identify him every play, Mark, right? Stafford, the O-line. Is he blitzing? Where is that guy? Where's Waldo? Where's Hamilton, right?
Yeah, and I have to make a confession. The draftnik that I am, when they selected him with the 14th overall pick in 2022, I was like, they're crazy. They're drafting a safety with the 14th overall pick, and I thought he was going to be a good player, but I just didn't make any sense to me, and he has certainly proven me wrong. He's one of the top safeties in football.
Yeah, dude's a baller, and we got to watch out for him for sure. But how about the season as a whole? Now we went through the roster, who their best players are, who are available. I mean, man, oh man, Mark, if you were to tell Ravens fans through 5 weeks they'd be 1-4, they would never believe that. I wouldn't believe that either, truthfully, right? They start out Sunday Night Football where they absolutely choke that game away in New York, lose by a point, 41-40. A lot of that had to do with defense and Henry fumbling and other stuff. Team lost in general. They blew it. Then bounce back game against the Browns, and everyone's like, okay, Ravens are back on track. Lamar and the passing and running game just smoke them. And then lose a heartbreaker to Detroit, right? Where they don't play good on Monday Night Football. The defense was awful in the run game, got air raided by Jared Goff and St. Brown and Jameson Williams, but really the ground game killed them. Then they have an absolute stinker against Kansas City that scores way closer than what it was, right? Lamar gets hurt at some point in the game. O-line gets banged around. Kansas City is air raiding the hell out of them. Mahomes looks like a Hall of Fame guy again. And then no Lamar, no Hamilton, no Roquan Smith, no Marlon Humphrey. And they get absolutely abused by the Houston Texans this past week, right? CJ Stroud has 4 touchdowns, one of the best games of his career. They air raid them. They get obliterated. Cooper Rush just has an awful 3-interception game. O-line stinks. It was a bad game overall, Mark. And just who would have thought they would be at this point?
Yeah, and again, I haven't sat and watched a bunch of Ravens football. I see the scores, I see the stats, I see how bad their defense has been. But in their defense, they lose to the Bills, who I had for most of the season the number one team in the league. They lost to the Lions, who is my currently a lot of folks would say playing the best football in the league. The Chiefs are the Chiefs, and then the Texans, coming in, I thought they were going to win that division, and they got off to a really slow start. Still a decent football team, though. So I'm just trying to convince myself. Hopefully the Rams recognize. I'm sure they do that this team is still capable of putting a W up against us. Yeah, 1-4, but not. I don't know. Aside from their defense, the defense has obviously been horrible across most of these games. I mean, look at those numbers they've given up.
Yeah,
But
it's bad.
but they played some good teams.
Fair, but no one would have thought. Again, we looked at the rosters on paper and shout out to everybody that was reading it along with us on YouTube here. It's just crazy. Almost like, really? They've been that bad. And I think with all that said, though, Rams Nation, let's look at some head-to-head stats, right? We talked about the defense underperforming. We talked about the roster overall underperforming. So let's pull it up. How are the Rams and the Ravens stacking up against each other going into this Week 6 matchup? So let's pull that up now for everyone on YouTube. You can read along or listen along to what I'm talking about here. Whoops, let me go back real quick as my laptop gets a little wacky sometimes. Technology, you love it, you hate it. But how about the Ravens offense, everyone? My goodness. A lot of these stats are kind of surprising right now. Points per game, 28.2 puts them at sixth best. Not a shock when Lamar is healthy and they're beating the hell out of people on that side of the ball. But yards per game has really suffered these past few games and puts them right now 23rd with only 311.8 yards per game. Rushing with Derrick Henry and Lamar and all the talented running backs that they have, 17th, 115.6. Pretty crazy. Passing has been on the lower tier. A lot of that has to do with Lamar, being hurt. 196.2 puts them at 22nd best. That's pretty shocking. Red zone efficiency, 53.33% of the time they're scoring a touchdown, puts them at 23rd. Not great. And then sacks allowed, Mark. They're top 5, one of the 5th worst blocking O-line in terms of allowing sacks with 16. Not a great stat. Even when Lamar was in there, he was getting hit and sacked a bunch. And then turnovers. They have the 5th most in the entire NFL with 7 for the Ravens offense. Pretty shocking, Mark, all those stats.
Yeah, there's something amiss here, especially with this offense. Oh, offense and defense actually. And I think the Rams are going to be able to get to Cooper Rush. If he's the guy, they're going to be all over him, and
Yeah.
they're just going to have to lean on Derrick Henry, I think, if that's the case.
Yeah, it feels that way for sure. But okay, how about the Rams defense going up against this Rams offense? Where are Rams ranked in all this right now? Well, points per game, 21.4 given up, puts them at 13th. So they're hovering close to the top 10. Okay, solid at the moment. Yards per game, 10th, with only 309 given up per game. Good. I like that. How about rushing yards per game? Only 93.6, which puts them at 10th. Top 10 unit. I like that for sure. Now, passing is where things get a little more wacky, and I don't enjoy that. 215.4 puts them at 18th. So they're on the bottom half of the league. We know the corner issues. We know this last game giving up a lot to Mac Jones probably skewed that even worse. So that's something they got to improve on for sure, Mark. Red zone. They've been a top 10 unit, though. That's nice to see. They are 7th best with only giving up a touchdown 53.33% of the time, which is eerily similar to the Ravens offense, which is kind of funny on that. Sacks, they are 3rd in the entire NFL with getting 15. Beautiful stat to see. And then turnovers, they are ranked 5th with 7. So overall, Mark, I mean, this is a top 10 defense right now, other than a couple bad, halves here and there. And then obviously just a crappy early performance against the Niners. I mean, this Rams defense is good, but the secondary, can or may hold this team back from going where they want to go. But in terms of this matchup, they have the advantage. They should.
Yeah, and they just have to get after the quarterback, whoever it is,
Yeah.
I'd like to see the Rams blitz a little bit more. I know they're getting after the quarterback with 4 guys, but I'd love to see them blitz because when they do blitz, they seem to be really successful. I mean, if they're playing the soft coverage that they've been doing sometimes,
Yeah.
man, just send Jalen McCullough, 2 or 3 times a game instead of once every other game. But
I know, man.
yeah, they're gonna get after this quarterback, I think.
They freaking better. They better. We're top 3. They're top 5 worst in pass block sacks allowed. So I need a good day for my fantasy team with you, Jared Verse, please. But how about moving on? We'll go to the Rams offense now. How have they been looking? Well, points per game, they're ranked 15th. They're in the middle of the league practically with only 24.6. They've had some stinkers and some bad, halves. Obviously, the Texan game, Niner game skewed that down, but we know they're better than that. Yards per game, 2nd in the entire NFL with 401.8. What a beautiful stat. But dang, we got to score more touchdowns. But that's good to see. They're able to move the ball more times than not. Rushing, this is disappointing, Mark, but I'm not shocked based on the next thing I'll read with this. So right now they're ranked 21st in the entire NFL with only 112.2 rushing yards per game, but they are ranked 2nd in passing with 289.6 yards per game through the air. So they're air rating everyone right now with Matthew Stafford, which then skews the rushing numbers down. But I still would like to see them closer to 10 and then they are in the 20s though, Mark. But Matthew Stafford cooking and the run game is, not getting as much opportunities as I would like to see, truthfully.
Yeah, and there's still stretches where McVay abandons the run for a while, and it just
Yeah.
becomes the Matthew Stafford show, which has worked, but that's gonna, tamper down your rushing totals for sure. Seems like they're successful when they run. They just I don't know if it's because of the dropsies by our running backs in the passing game, or the fumbles. But it seems like McVay just kind of to screw it. Matthew drop back and throw the ball around.
Yeah. That's how it goes, but so be it. It is what it is. And red zone, this is something that's just been an issue since 2020. Let's be honest. Whether Jared's been the quarterback or Stafford, Sean McVay's play calling and the execution of players has just been unacceptable. For them to be ranked 24th with only scoring a touchdown 52.38% of the time is unacceptable with the amount of talent this offense has. And that's been an issue for years, for 5 years now. And for them to still be ranked 24th, they're near the bottom and they have time to get it better. But as of right now, they're ranked 24th. That's just unacceptable for how much firepower they have. And all the guys have the ability to score a touchdown. Unacceptable. Now, sacks, only 9 allowed, which puts them 19th overall, which, again, not 19th, where it's a bad number, only 19th. They're the 19th best, which means you want to be lower on that number, and the Rams are, with O-line injuries here every week, guard here, tackle here, and Stafford's diagnosing defenses, getting rid of the ball, and then when he is holding it on, he's taking a shot and delivering. So that's a good number to see, but I like to see that be even better when guys get healthy, Mark. But still, only 9 allowed, puts them on the lower tier. That's good.
Yeah, I've been surprised, given the occasional failures of our offensive line. Overall, the protections, it hasn't been that bad, right?
Yeah.
Holding up pretty good. And Matthew, it seems like Matthew, maybe it's just me, man, but he seems a little more nimble in the pocket than in past years. A little bit more pocket awareness, and like he did that spin out and roll out to the left.
Beautiful.
I don't know, was that last week where he hit
Yeah,
2-2?
2-2, that bomb.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, Matthew. I don't remember him being able to do that so well.
Yeah, he's a baller. But we're 6th in turnovers right now, giving away on offense, right? Fumble. Matthew Stafford's thrown some boneheaded INTs through the season, but that's something I think will hopefully get corrected. But that's not a great stat overall to be nearing the top 5. And again, there's still a lot of games to be played, and that will separate between teams that aren't good and or offenses that aren't good and that are. But red zone, turnovers, got to see that stuff improve for sure, right? So Rams offense looking pretty good overall, I would say, other than a few things. But how about this Ravens defense they're facing, Mark? This is pretty wow. Points per game, they are the worst in the NFL with 35.4. Yards per game, they are second worst in the NFL with 409 yards per game given up. Rushing, 29th worst, 146.4 yards per game through the ground. In the air, they are 31st, 262.6 passing yards given up. Awful. Red zone, they are 31st, almost last in terms of red zone touchdown percentages given up. 76% of the time their opponents are scoring a touchdown. Crazy. Sacks, one of the worst teams that could get to the quarterback. They are ranked 29th with only 6 sacks this season. And turnovers, they've only gotten 2, which puts them at 31st worst in the NFL. I mean, these are shocking stats from a Ravens defense where, again, you look on paper and there's no way that they're this bad, though, Mark, but they are. They
I
are
know.
this bad.
Yeah, now they've played, like I mentioned before, they have played some good offenses. The Bills, the Chiefs. Chiefs have struggled a little bit at times. The Lions, but the Rams have an offense better than any of them, I think, right now. So it's not getting any easier for them, and I think the Rams are going to put some points up on them.
Yeah. I hope they put some freaking points.
It's not going to
Because
be easy though. It's going to be nip and tuck at the end there. It's just the way this team's been rolling.
I know, dude. We'll talk about it. I'm just thinking about this Ravens defense and just how historically bad they've been. And people are clamoring that this is the worst Ravens defense in history in their team history. And they probably are right. Let's just be honest about it. But it's just so shocking. I'm just absorbing that they're this bad. And what a trap it could be, though, Mark, right? I mean,
Yeah, it
The-
could be one of those games where, they're stewing, they're pissed off, and they're reading the
yeah, I mean,
headlines how bad they are too, and this is the game they try to step it up. But hey, the Rams offense is pretty freaking good, so bring it on.
yeah, bring it on for sure. And okay, with all that said, Rams Nation, how about the injury report, right? We've talked about the rosters. We've talked about the best players that we think are going to play. We've talked about the team stats and where they are production wise per game. So now let's pull up that injury report. And again, it's not final. This is a Wednesday one. But on this, though, Rams Nation, let's start on the Rams side of things. Colby Parkinson just seems banged up every week, man. Oof, he's got a concussion. I think he smacked his head when Stafford threw to him on that red zone touchdown. He couldn't bring it down. He was limited. He was out there. He'll probably end up playing. Cameron Kitchens, Nate Landman had ankle issues and knee issues after this last Thursday game, but they were out there practicing and limited, so that's better than nothing. And then Omar Spates, doubtful already, McVay says, with an ankle, a high ankle. That's not good. That's a multi-week injury right there. Not good, not good, not good. He did not practice. Higbee with the hip didn't practice as he missed the last game. And then Rob Havenstein with his ankle have not practiced again either. So more starters getting banged up, Mark. And that's not great for this Rams team that's just trying to find wins somehow, some way, and stay afloat in the West.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see more Terrence Ferguson and Warren McClendon actually held up pretty well, I think. So we may be okay there, but trying to look on the bright side here.
I know, I'm trying. I'm trying, dang it. But how about those Baltimore Ravens? This team is pretty damn beat up right now. Owuzie, one of their starters, has a hamstring injury. He did not practice. That's not looking good for them. Zay Flowers limited with a shoulder. Hamilton's coming back from the groin. He'll likely play in the game. Marlon Humphrey still dealing with a calf. He's maybe not going to be a go. Lamar Jackson with the hamstring. He's probably not going to be a go. Then you got Jones, the backup tackle. Note boom. He's banged up, even though he doesn't even play that much. We're used to that, aren't we? He's limited in practice. Their fullback dealing with a calf did not practice. Well, the other tackle was limited with a knee. Roquan Smith with his own hamstring did not practice. And then Stanley probably going to be coming back with his ankle. And then Walker, one of the receivers, is limited as well. So all that to say, though, Mark, is that it's a lot of guys we're just not 100% sure on. But with them having a bye soon, I expect some of these guys who aren't practicing probably to sit out another week.
Yeah, I'm tempted to just ignore injury reports at this point
Yeah, I
because,
know.
man, I was you saw that point spread just climbing with the 49er injury reports coming out, and how did that work out? So, you got to assume that they're gonna field 11 guys on each side of the side, and they're gonna come to play, and they have enough good players to test us. So.
Yeah, they do for sure. So there's the injury report, everyone, on that. And now, with all of that being shared, how about those damn keys to victory to beat these freaking Ravens, right? Week 6 matchup out there in Baltimore, Maryland. How the hell are these Rams going to bounce back and beat this beat up Ravens team, regardless of they miss a guy here, there, or everyone's healthy out of nowhere and plays? They got to find a way to win this game. And we're going to tell you how they're going to do it. So, Mark, I'll start with you. What are the Rams' keys to victory on offense against this really bad Ravens defense? Tell me.
Well, as much as we worry about our running backs holding on to the football, we just got to gash this defense. And one of the reasons I say that is weather could be an issue, and weather's
Yeah.
always an issue for both teams. There could be some rain, very likely. So we got to be willing to run the ball, to keep at it. Matthews going to sling the ball around plenty. He always does, but we got to get Corum and Williams back moving. We got to make sure we can't give up on those guys. We got to keep on giving them the ball. They are our running backs, and they got to figure it out. And we have to let them figure it out real time in games. Give them the ball, run the ball, hang on to the football, and just crush this Ravens rush defense, which has been so pitiful so far.
Yeah.
I think we got to be willing to run the ball and not My fear is that McVay is going to shy away from the run game because of what happened. And I don't think that's a recipe for success.
Yeah, it's definitely not. And I agree with everything you said there. But what are my keys to victory, everyone, on offense? Well, with this Ravens defense just being so damn pitiful, number one, where is Kyle Hamilton? He's going to be the X factor for them. Where is he lined up? Is he lined up close to the line of scrimmage on a blitz? Is he faking it? Is he back single high by himself at safety? Is he in tandem with somebody else? Is he lining up in corner in the slot or outside? But there are secondary issues, and he's not really a part of it. He's the reason why they're not even worse. Where is Kyle Hamilton? You got to play that where is Waldo game and make sure he doesn't get his hands near the football at all times. And overall, though, I think you just got to be efficient. When the yardage is there, make the damn catch, hold on to the damn football when we're running it, and we should be able to move the ball on this defense. Now, with no Roquan Smith, most likely, and then Matabuke being on IR and done for the year, I say run it right up the gut, right? Let's run behind your big boys at the guard spots. Steve Avila should be back in this game starting. Kevin Dotson hopefully is feeling a little bit better from his ankle issues earlier in the year. And Coleman Shelton, because they are not as stout up the middle as they should be on paper. No Roquan most likely. No Matabuke for sure. They are vulnerable up the middle. Do you want to run to Kyle Van Noy's side to the outside? Sure, we're going to get those opportunities, but I think run up the gut, make them feel it, make them bleed from the inside. And then again, in the passing game, et cetera, execute. Let's not get too ridiculous in terms of, hey, we're going to all of a sudden start doing crazy plays, which are fun to see, but just execute. I think it's that simple because of this defense just being so poor. And don't take them lightly. That's it. Execute, do your job, and we should be able to move the ball on them. No doubt about it, Mark. But going
Yeah,
back,
yeah.
how about the defense? What does this Rams defense need to do against the Ravens offense? What are the keys to victory on that side, Mark?
Well, I'm really concerned about Zay Flowers. I'm not overly concerned about the run defense. And that may sound crazy, going up against Derrick Henry, but I think the Rams defense, we talked about a stat before we recorded here. The Rams are the only team in the NFL not to give up a 20-yard run. They've been clamping down. Their run defense has been really good. So it's all, last week it was Mac Jones to Bourne beating the hell out of us. And now it's Cooper Rush and Zay Flowers. Do we have the secondary to stand up to that? And I guess what I'm saying is that's what worries me. How do we deal with that? And we need to just get to the quarterback, whatever it takes. Don't let him stand back there. Don't play off the receivers. Don't play off Zay Flowers. You get pressure and you just dump it off to Zay Flowers 8 yards deep and he runs for 15. So whatever the Rams can do to figure that part of the game out to help their cornerbacks out, whether it's rushing the passer effectively with blitzes or just clamping down on the coverage, playing a little bit tighter. I'm not sure which tactic is going to be the answer, but the objective here is to take away Zay Flowers.
I'm on board with that for sure. And my keys to victory, Rams Nation, Rams offense, Ravens defense, is you got to sell out to stop the run again. You just have to do it. Just like they've done against Saquon, Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey. Now they're going to have to, Nick Chubb, we'll give him credit too, even though I know he's an older version of himself. They have to do it because if Derrick Henry gets any seam, we have no one, maybe Emmanuel Forbes can run him down, but that's not a guarantee he'll tackle him. Let's be real about it. If he gets free, we're screwed. If he gets that momentum, he gets that 10 yards to start galloping, I mean, he's gone. It's as simple as that. So they have to sell out against the run. They have to, especially if it is Cooper Rush or even Snoop Huntley. They just have to sell out to stop the run and say, all right, backup quarterback, can you beat us? And I think they have to live and die by that. Now, once that scenario of stopping the run unfolds and they're doing that, Cooper Rush is more of the passer, of course, more than Snoop Huntley. So if Cooper Rush is playing quarterback, they cannot do the same game plan they did against the 49ers. A lot of cover two, and not just cover two, soft cover two. Soft meaning that they're playing very far away from the receivers, the pass catchers. That cushion between where the line of scrimmage is and DBs are is way too far away. They cannot do that again because Cooper Rush, as a backup, he's not Mac Jones good, obviously, or he's never been a legit starter, but he can execute at the game plan like that. Dink and dunk. Zay Flowers there, Rashad Bateman there, DeAndre Hopkins here, and they can make stuff happen. Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. Like, that group is severely more talented than this 49ers group that killed us on Thursday. So they have to live and die by playing up close. And then, of course, the pass rush has to get home. This group is not good at pass protection. If Jared Verse, Byron, Josiah, Kobe, I mean, everyone you can think of, if those guys do not eat and do not get pressure when the pass plays are long developing, right? Not the dink and dunk where Rush or Huntley can get it out fast, then they have no chance, like last game. But if there's the opportunities where it's a 5-step drop, a 7-step drop, and Rush, Huntley, or even, let's just say Lamar, they have to hold it. Those guys have to win. And if they don't, we are in big trouble, Mark. So regardless who's at quarterback, play up, stop the run, live and die by containing Derrick Henry, and get to that damn quarterback because that O-line is not good at pass protection right now. And now, real quick, I'll say this as I'm thinking about it. Let's just say Snoop Huntley gets the start. Once upon a time, he almost beat us with other backups back in 2021 because of his running around ability, him buying time, him being like Lamar, running read options, running quarterback power, quarterback sweep, et cetera, et cetera. So if he plays, my God, Jared Verse, Byron Young, Josiah, everyone, you better set that damn edge because that is a big weakness of this defensive line or defensive front. And that could be something that kills us where we don't get the ball enough because Snoop Huntley's running around, getting yardage, buying time, getting scramble this, scramble that. So the first part kind of applies to anyone, but that second part of Huntley gets the surprise start, which wouldn't shock me, to be honest with you, with how Rush played last week. Got to contain him and make him throw downfield to beat us because he is the worst passer of the two, but he is clearly an amazing threat on the ground. And that's one way we can screw this whole thing up is if he starts getting runs every now and then. Right, Mark?
Yeah, and sometimes the worst scenario is Cooper Rush gets the start, Rams get a 13-0 lead, and then they switch up to an entirely different type of quarterback. I hate those scenarios.
Yeah.
But what are you game planning for here defensively? And you talked about Emmanuel Forbes chasing down Derrick Henry, and I got this image stuck in my head of Derrick Henry carrying Emmanuel Forbes for 30 yards into the end zone. It could happen.
Yeah, it could happen for sure. I mean, we don't have many guys that could tackle Derrick Henry. Maybe our front and then maybe our linebackers, but the corners, I don't believe in them to make that tackle. Maybe other than Cameron Curl, maybe. But man, oh man, Mark, with all that said, of course, I think we'll share this last one, and it's not defense or offense. How about block better on the I was going to cuss right now on the freaking PAT and field goal unit? My goodness. Can we get that corrected? I think that's a simple one, right? In these keys of victory to beat the Ravens overall. Can you freaking block for an extra half or millisecond and let Joshua Carty at least get a chance for the air on that kick to take off? I mean, my goodness.
Yeah, it's just really strange, man, how things have flipped. The first 3 games was it? Man, I was feeling so good about our kicking game.
Yeah.
And it just seems like such a fundamental problem we're having. It's really troubling. And I'm wondering if, maybe the Rams could take advantage of this if teams really do think we're vulnerable there. What a great opportunity to run an occasional fake. Maybe in this
Yeah.
game. I know it's difficult in the field goal game. It's much easier in the punting game.
Yeah.
But yeah, something's got to give, man. They've had 10 days to figure it out. They better have.
I know they got to figure it out, man. If they have another block kick, I'm gonna lose my damn mind. I am, and I know all of you will as well. But of course, a simple keys to victory: hold up on the damn kicking game. Jeez Louise, ridiculous, Mark. But with all that said, and frustration hopefully being aired out and being solved in this next game and beyond, we got to get our early score predictions, right, everyone? Yes, it is Wednesday. Yes, we haven't gotten a full confirmation of who is playing for the Rams, who is playing for the Ravens, and who is out for both teams. But we got to give our opinion based on all this info. And Mark, what is your early score prediction for this game? What do you got for me?
Yeah, it's a difficult one, mainly because of the weather. I think the Rams are going to come away with a win. It's just a matter of what type of game it's going to be. Is this Ravens defense going to show up at all? Is the sometimes slippery turf can elevate the score. Sometimes it tamps down the score. So I don't know, but I think the Rams are going to win handily. I'm trying to be really positive here. I think they're probably just itching to go again. It's been a week and a half since they played, and such a horrible experience that was. They're going to come out and make a statement here, and I'm going to go with 31-20 Rams.
31-20. I like that score for sure. I mean, if that were the case, I think a lot of people would be pretty happy about that, right, Mark? I mean, I
Yeah,
think
I
that's a
mean,
solid one right there.
yeah, at this point, it's really, not knowing, we don't know who's all gonna play, we're not sure about the weather, we don't know the mindset of both teams, really. The Ravens have just been embarrassed, the Rams are pissed off, so we'll see what happens.
Well, everyone, you're not going to be happy with me, and I don't give a damn, to be honest with you. I got Rams losing this game 26-27. Why do I have that? Well, based on everything I have seen in this season, I don't know which Rams team is going to show up. Let's just be honest about it. Are we going to get a killer first half team like you see against the Eagles? That doesn't sustain itself, does it, as of this point? Are we going to get a lollygagging? Oh, the 49ers have no important players out there and just severely underperform the entire game. Are we going to get that group? Are we going to get the lollygagging Tennessee Titans early parts of that game where no one is playing their best overall, maybe other than the defense? And then are we going to get just, an inconsistent like we saw against week 1 against the Houston Texans? Or are we going to get, are we lucky we won that game, Indianapolis Colts version of the Rams, right? I mean, there's so many ways this could go. And I got to be real about it. With the weapons they have on offense, with the secondary having its issues on our defense, with the amount of kicking and blocking issues and key moments that this team has had, Mark, until I see this group get their act together and take a team not lightly, how can I pick them to win this? Because Zay Flowers, DeAndre, Rashad, Henry, Mark Andrews, likely that is a formidable skill group of receivers and pass catchers. Cooper Rush, Brent Hundley, are they going to play as terrible as they did last week? I doubt they're going to be as crappy if they get the start. Let's be honest. It was horrible last week. And then on top of it, you have a motivated Ravens team coached by a good head coach in Harbaugh, good coaches on that roster. I mean, that team overall. Are they going to be as abysmal as they have been, like they were last week against Houston? I think we're going to get a motivated Ravens team. I think we're going to come out lollygagging again. I hope I'm wrong. And I think there's going to be missed kicks in this game that are going to absolutely cost this team a victory like it has the last, handful of games. And I think these are going to be one of those games, Mark, where we'll look back and say, what a horrible, horrible loss this was against another beat up team. I hope I'm wrong. I just have this bad gut feeling because for whatever reason, when there's backups in, the Rams never play good football against them. This has been a McVay issue. We saw it last Thursday. We've seen it in years past. And for whatever reason, inferior quote unquote teams always play better against us, and we never put them in the ground, put them away like a good team should. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope the Rams win this thing. I'll be cheering for them. I'm not rooting for them to lose. I know some people call me out like, you just want them to lose. Absolutely not. And despite all the injuries and this, and that, Mark, the mental aspect of this whole thing is important. Players not wanting to embarrass themselves for another home game. Pride of playing for yourself and for your brothers and your teammates. I think these Ravens team coached by Harbaugh, I think they're going to come out swinging, and we're going to be like, oh, It's another beat up team, and I'll believe it when I see it. If they smoke them, great. If they don't, I'm going to be equally as not surprised. And that kicking game, I don't believe in it until I see multiple games in a row where kicking operation on PAT or field goal is corrected. So that's why I got 26-27 Rams lose in a crappy fashion. I hope I'm wrong. Again, I know a lot of people say, oh, you're just hating on the Rams. And I got to keep it real with what I believe. And until I see this team play better football against quote unquote inferior talent or beat up rosters, why should I think that they're going to not take them likely? I think that's fair, Mark.
Yeah, so this is what they're talking about on the YouTube channel when they say Ian keeps it real. That's what they're talking about. But my counter to that would be, the fact that it kind of just happened to them, 10 days ago, that they're not gonna let it happen again. You could be right, but I would hope that, they're not gonna they're not gonna repeat the same performance and take an opponent lightly for those same reasons. That's my hope anyways. But you could be right. But this is a big test of that locker room, the culture, the leadership that they get their act together. And it's easy a game like that, especially guys like whoever screwed up the blocking, Joshua Carty, Kyron Williams, to really that's a tough thing to bounce back from. But they got to, and it's going to be a big measure of where this football team's headed, how well they bounce back, and I'm
Yeah,
hoping they do.
I'm hoping they do as well. But again, I hope I'm wrong. But again, there's a lot of stuff I don't like from what I've seen from this team in terms of just taking opponents seriously, play calling, inconsistent play calling, I should say. And then the do or die of the Ravens, right? If they fall to 1-5, their playoff chances are toast. Let's be honest about it. It is a do or die game for them, and they're at home. Do they want to embarrass themselves again at home 2 weeks in a row? The hard will let them do that. And again, we have history playing backups. And this was Stu Huntley in 2021, where they were completely shattered and beat up then, and we almost lost, beat them by 1 point. So I don't feel good about it. Ravens teams beat up the Rams a lot more times than not. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, Mark.
Yeah, we'll see. It could this game could go a lot of different ways. I'm just hoping the Rams get there. This is still such a talented football team. I just don't see them
Yeah.
do two duds in a row. I just hope it doesn't happen.
I hope it doesn't happen. I hope they learn their lesson losing in devastating fashion on prime time for the whole world to see. I hope they're ready. I hope they're beat up team. And yeah, as I sit on that thought, and I'm like, ay, 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 ay. So, Rams Nation, if you're on YouTube again, hey, share this video, like this video, subscribe to the channel, helps out our content be seen in the algorithm for other Rams fans to see. And if you're on the audio only or podcast only, share this audio and podcast, everybody. And Mark, before we get out of here, anything you want to say?
No, just hey, enjoy the game, kick back. Rams will win by my score 31-20. Nice relaxing game, and
I hope so.
the rest of the NFC West takes a loss. That's my hope.
That is the magic hope. And I hope all of you, no matter where you are on planet Earth, whether you are in Los Angeles, you're making the trip to Baltimore. Shout out to all you guys that are going to be out there. And whether you are repping the blue and yellow at home, in the stadium, at a bar with friends, rep your horns, rep them loud. And no matter where you are, shout that Rams house chant. It's fun. It's enjoyable. And man, let's get a damn victory so we all can wash away that crappy 49ers loss. We all need it. You need it. This team needs it. And I believe that they have the capability to do it. But I guess we'll find out in a 10 a.m. game out there in Baltimore, Maryland. So, hey, go Rams, rep the horns, and damn it, they better get a victory.